We are at video number 0033, arriving at the destination. Spiritual life is the process of transforming our knowledge, love, and work into expressions of the divine. It grows through our sincere effort, uplifted by divine grace. As an old Hindu saying teaches, the winds of God's love are always blowing, but we must raise our sails. The winds of God's love are always blowing, but we must raise our sails. Yet we must ask, where are we sailing to? What is the final destination? Every journey has a beginning and an end. Scientists tell us that the universe began with a big bang. But what caused that first explosion? Mystics say it was God Himself, the living heart that pulses through the universe. Our end is in our beginning. The sages of India gave a name to this truth, Sat Chit Anand, existing truth, consciousness, and bliss. These are not three separate things, but three aspects of one eternal reality. Therefore, the destination of this spiritual journey, described in the Bhagavad Gītā, is the realization of Sat Chit Anand, the infinite truth, consciousness, and bliss that is our divine essence. A student is asking a question. You often say that life is a journey of the soul, but every journey must have a destination. What is the destination of this spiritual journey? The Guru replies, that is indeed the question that every seeker must ask. We travel through life collecting knowledge, seeking love, performing work. Yet few stop to ask, where is all this leading? A spiritual life means turning these three, knowledge, love, and work, into instruments of divine growth. When we think rightly, love purely, and act selflessly, the divine begins to shine through our human life. But remember, this transformation is not achieved by effort alone. Human effort must meet divine grace. As the old saying goes, the winds of God's love are always blowing, but we must raise our sail. Grace is like the wind, always present, invisible yet powerful. But unless you raise your sail, your faith, your discipline, your devotion, you will not move forward. A student is asking another question. So, when we raise our sail, and move forward in this spiritual ocean. What shore are we sailing toward? What is the destination? The Guru replies, the final shore. Every journey has its beginning and its end. The scientists tell us that this universe began with a great explosion, the Big Bang. But the mystics ask, what caused that bang? Behind that burst of creation, they say, is not a random event, but a pulse of divine love. God Himself, consciousness awakening into creation. Consciousness awaking into creation. The sages of India call this primal source, the heart that beats within the universe. And so, the journey of the soul is a circle. It begins in the divine, it wanders through the worlds of experience, and it returns again to the divine. This is why it is said, our end is in our beginning. A student is asking another question. But how can the end and the beginning be the same? The Guru replies, because what you seek is already within you. You begin in God, you live in God, and you return to God. The destination is not somewhere far away. It is the realization of what you already are. The ancient seers called this realization Sat Chit Anand. Sat means truth or eternal existence, that which never changes. Chit means consciousness, the awareness that illumines all thoughts and experiences. Anand means bliss, the unchanging joy of the soul that knows its oneness with the divine. These are not three different things, but three ways of describing the same reality, like light, warmth, and color belong to the same flame. So, truth, consciousness, and bliss belong to the same divine essence. A student is asking another question. If Sat Chit Anand is already within me, why do I not feel it? The Guru replies, because your awareness is clouded by ignorance, by the restless mind, desires, fears, and attachments. It is like the sun hidden behind thick clouds. The sun never stops shining, but we cannot see it until the sky clears. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gītā are meant to clear those clouds. Through Jnana Yoga, the path of knowledge, we learn to see truth. Through Bhakti Yoga, the path of love, we purify our hearts. Through Karma Yoga, the path of selfless work, we transform our actions into worship. When these three unite, the clouds disperse. And then The soul sees the sun of Sat Chit Anand shining within. A student is asking another question. Is that what it means to arrive at the destination? The Guru replies, yes. The destination is not a place, it is a state of realization. It is awakening to the truth that you are not the limited body or mind, but the infinite spirit. You are that same Satchit Anand which you have been seeking all along. When this truth is known, love becomes universal, work becomes worship, and knowledge becomes illumination. Every act becomes divine, every breath becomes a prayer. A student is asking another question. But is it possible for an ordinary person to live like this? In constant awareness of truth, consciousness, and bliss? The Guru replies, yes, this is the purpose of human life, to live consciously in God while still walking through the world. The Gita teaches us not to escape the world, but to spiritualize it, to work in the world, but with the heart fixed on the divine. It is like the lotus that lives in water yet remains untouched by it. When you remember that God is both the beginning and the end of all, your life becomes a sacred offering. It is like the lotus that lives in water yet remains untouched by it. When you remember that God is both the beginning and the end of all, your life becomes a sacred offering. A student is asking another question. So, what should I do each day to move closer to that destination? Guru replies, practice three things every day. Number one, clarity in thought. See life through the eyes of truth, not illusion. Number two, purity in love. Love others, not for what they give, but for what they are, manifestations of God. Number three, sincerity in work. Do your duties selflessly, offering the fruits to the divine. When these three harmonize, you raise your sail to catch the wind of God's grace. Then your journey becomes effortless, your destination sure. A student is asking another question. And when I reach that destination, what happens then? The Guru replies, then the traveler disappears and only the destination remains. You realize that you were never separate from the divine. You were the ocean dreaming it was a wave. You awaken to your real nature, truth, consciousness, and bliss. You have arrived not at a distant shore, but at your own eternal self. So let us see the closing words for you. The journey of the soul is from ignorance to wisdom, from fear to freedom, from sorrow to bliss. It is not about becoming something new. It is about remembering who you have always been. The Bhagavad Gītā is the map. Your heart is the compass. And God's grace is the wind in your sails. Raise that sail, and the divine will carry you home to Sat Chit Anand, the eternal destination. Hari Om.